Hey, welcome everybody. This is Charlene, the Crypto Queen, broadcasting live tonight. I just have to have this conversation with you because I've been talking about energy and Bitcoin as a store of energy and Bitcoin being expressed in terms of kilowatt hours or watts and satoshis being broken down into a smaller denomination called watts. Energy has been broken down into the very basic uh, way of calculating energy, and that's WATTS. So, what's going to happen is Bitcoin price is going to get so astronomical. It's going to be in the millions, and some people are even saying billions. So, let's take the argument that Bitcoin is going to be valued at over $1 million. So, and then a Satoshi at that point would be 100,000 for the smallest unit that we measure Bitcoin in right now. But if you go to do transaction in any smaller denomination, that we need another uh, denominator or another measure to calculate Bitcoins and Satoshis because I think one Bitcoin is 100,000 satoshis. Don't I'm not the expert on it, but think of Charlene as like I'm the dumbest person when it comes to Bitcoin. So let's go with that logic that I'm not the expert on anything. I'm not the expert on blockchain. I'm not the expert on Bitcoin. I'm not the expert on all the charts. I'm just a common sense mom who's trying to use the knowledge that I have from the electric and power industry and bringing that topic and tying that into Bitcoin because nobody else is talking about Bitcoin as a store of energy. Once the electric providers figure out that they can store excess electricity, matter of fact, all the energy that's used to run the Bitcoin network right now is going to actually become a commodity itself. So right now, electricity, corn, cotton, sugar, all those things are commodity. And we have the utility industry. But the utility industry hasn't really become smart. They're kind of dumb like me, or maybe even dumber. And they don't realize that every kilowatt of energy running the network of the Bitcoin network, that blockchain, worldwide, globally, has its own value. So if you could say the actual blockchain itself, where you can track and the ledger system and all the other features of Bitcoin. I covered the 21 features of Bitcoin in my Tokens magazine, the latest edition here. Oh, you guys want some entertainment? Let's go to my channel and yeah, let's play some of my own crazy creations here. So, for example, the the 21 states of blockchain. So I've got or Bitcoin. Bitcoin is life. Bitcoin is art. Bitcoin is time. Bitcoin is work. Bitcoin is assets. Bitcoin is force. Bitcoin is digital. Bitcoin is energy, guys. All the energy that's running the network worldwide, it makes Bitcoin. That's what makes Bitcoin. Without the electricity, there's no Bitcoin. Without energy, there's no Bitcoin. Yeah, that's some of my videos playing in the background there, along with some reggae music for you. But I've been doing this a long time. Been on the air for back in since 2001. But you wouldn't know because I'm one of the most banned journalists. Like I said, I'm the dumbest person you know. So what I'm gonna share with you is mainly for entertainment purposes. What I'm sharing with you is mainly just my own crazy ideas. I'm the craziest, dumbest Bitcoin person you're ever gonna meet. But maybe somewhere in there you can find some value. I'm the former adjunct instructor at Utah Valley University, the largest university in the Mountain West in Utah, over 70,000 enrolled students. And I was an adjunct professor there for teaching Bitcoin. This is my thesis. This is the curriculum I use, the 21 states of Bitcoin. And I cover all the different aspects of Bitcoin. A lot of people see Bitcoin just as money or, something that's fungible or something that's a ledger. There's different ways to interpret Bitcoin, but I've narrowed it down to 21 different features that are simultaneously effective as Bitcoin. So you could call Bitcoin any of these things. For me, Bitcoin is life. My favorite topic to talk about Bitcoin, which nobody else is covering, is Bitcoin as energy. And that's why we're here today, because I want to express to you that we're going to get to a point where we're looking for a new denominator, a new unit of measure, because satoshis are going to get so crazy valuable. But there's another aspect to that. You have to understand that Bitcoin is not like any other commodity or any other asset or any other store of value or any other kind of property. Bitcoin itself is energy. The awarding of a block of Bitcoin when a miner mines Bitcoin with his computer is a result of the energy. It's called proof of work. So that proof of work is a result of the energy being put into the process of generating each block of Bitcoin. So it's storing all the energy used, and it's not just storing the energy of that one computer of that was awarded the block. It's storing the energy of all the computers worldwide on the whole network, all the transactions that are being processing, all the wallets that are actively engaged in the whole blockchain. All that takes electricity. And so the Bitcoin is awarded based on the amount of electricity and the amount of people using the network. So you're talking about being able to capture energy, being able to store energy, be able to eradicate waste of energy. And so I've talked about in the other segments, you can look at the other videos related to Bitcoin is energy. How I've talked about when the electric providers or when the utility providers figure out that they can actually store energy and that they should be giving free electricity for people to run their laptops and their computers at home using Bitcoin. It's called time of use or demand response. So, for example, um, Edison, Southern California Edison, they have a program called Demand Response where they hook up your air conditioner to a little device and they can shut that off. So there's a lot of people using energy and they want all that electricity to run something else. They can downgrade the amount of power going to your air conditioner. At least that's what they say. And they can divert that electricity to some other systems that need more electricity. And so if you can run your electric demand at a time when it's off peak, it's called off peak is when I think in California, peak is like 4 to 9 p.m. because that's when everybody leaves work, they get home, they fire up the AC, and they start cooking, and it's like everybody's actively engaged. It's like some people are still at work, so all the consumption and all the demand for electricity is still peaking at 4 o'clock because not everybody already left work at 5. They some leave at work at 5. So those who leave work early and leave work at 4, and then those still working at 5, and then they get home and then they start using all the things. They start cooking, they start washing, they start running the vacuum cleaners. Like between 4 and 9 p.m. it's everything's pumping, and then like around 9:30, 10 o'clock, everybody settles down. So people start going to sleep, putting the kids to bed. They're blow drying the wet hair, they're taking the baths of the kids at night, they're washing the dogs. They're using a lot of electricity between 4 and 9 p.m. So what the electric company says, if you use electricity between 4 and 9 p.m., you're going to be paying 5 times per kilowatt hour. So what they're trying to do is encourage people to use electricity during the daytime. Like the best time to run your Bitcoin miner, if you're in one of these places where electricity is in high demand during the daytime, it would be like between 11:30 noon to 2 p.m. So between noon and 2 p.m., say that's the best time, or say between midnight and 4 a.m. Nobody is really kicking, the offices are not on, everybody's asleep, or it's during lunchtime, so people are not even running their computer, they're out eating or getting a drink on a lunch break. So those are the hours, 12 to 2 during the daytime, and about midnight to 3 or 4 a.m., you could run Bitcoin. So what if the electric company says, hey, we're going to give you free electricity here's the kicker: free electricity to run your Bitcoin miners between noon and 2 and between midnight and 4 a.m. Now, that would be a great incentive, because what happens is the utility providers, they still have to provide that electricity during those hours. It's just that nobody's using it. So what they're doing is grounding it. They're actually sending that electricity in the ground. So a lot of people don't realize that if you don't, you can't store electricity. So what if Bitcoin comes along, the entire network says, okay, everybody who has a laptop, everyone who has an electric device, you can plug that in, run the Bitcoin protocol, run the nodes between noon and 2 p.m., take all that excess energy that's just sitting there, going into the ground, and convert that, store that, save that, transition all this wasted energy into the Bitcoin network. That's what creates the value of the Bitcoin. So everybody's talking about all these institutional players coming in with billions of dollars and trillions of dollars that they need to move out of other assets that are not performing, that they're losing value on their cash and their portfolios. You can tell by your own portfolio, unless you've got some really risky stocks and you know the secret stocks to buy before they pump and dump. But say all of that trillions of dollars, let's say $1 trillion is trying to come into Bitcoin. Why hasn't that impacted the price of the Bitcoin? Why today Bitcoin is still sitting around that $29,000-$30,000 range, and it's not, with all this pumping, with all this conversation about ETFs, spot Bitcoins, BlackRock, Kathy Woods, all of these popular people who are smart, because believe me, I'm the dumbest Bitcoin person you're ever going to meet. So when you talk about all these other people who are basically out there pumping Bitcoin and saying this is a time, Bitcoin's gonna go to a million, Bitcoin's gonna go to 100,000. Why isn't that conversation impacting the price? Basically, the supply doesn't exist. So even if you had $1 million, if you had $1 trillion, you cannot get any Bitcoin. Who's gonna sell you their Bitcoin at 29,000? Who's gonna sell you all of their Bitcoin, $1 trillion worth of Bitcoin right now? Nobody. So even if you have the money and you beg me to sell my Bitcoin, I would not. I would soon pull out these pearly whites before I would sell my Bitcoin. And I'm the dumbest person in Bitcoin. So the people who are smarter than me, they're not trying to sell Bitcoin. They're trying to acquire more. Right now, everybody's out there trying to hold on to their Bitcoins for their life. They're never going to sell to these people with $1 million or the free money or the excess money. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get your Bitcoin, because let's look at Bitcoin supply. Bitcoin is not governed by supply and demand. What I'm trying to say is Bitcoin is governed by the network, the amount of energy going in to support the network. So let's go back to a year and a half ago, in the spring of 2021, when Bitcoin was like $69,000 per Bitcoin. There was a lot of mining. A lot of mining companies, a lot of people had set up rigs and started to mine Bitcoin because they caught the future. They realized that mining is the place to be, because not only are they competing for mining new Bitcoins and we're running out, they're also wanting to support the whole network. So Bitcoin, the whole network needs to be supported. You need a wallet support, you need transactional support. The whole system is held up by the number of computers running electricity to support the network. So basically, when you had a lot of mining, that strengthens the network. The more computers globally spread out across the network running the code, say for example, you had 1,000 computers running the Bitcoin code. I like to think about it like a stadium. So you go into a stadium like we have, what's a big stadium? Like we have the Pasadena Rose Bowl, where I've had many events when I used to live in California, in Pasadena. So you have all those seats in the stadium, right? And the game is on and people are coming in. And the more seats take up, that just creates another energy. It improves the energy as more people fill in those stadium seats. The energy just gets higher and higher, even if you can't see the game because you're in the nosebleeds. Just being tight and having all those seats around you, people eating popcorn and soft drinks and nachos and whatever. The vibe, the energy of a full stadium gives you more excitement. that energy is what we're capturing. We're not necessarily, you can't even see who's got the ball because, even the players on the field have no idea who's got the ball. But you're there partaking of the energy, you're supporting the network, you're contributing to that energy factor as well. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. So as more and more computers come online running the Bitcoin protocol, kind of like more seats filling up in the stadium, and it's jam packed, and that energy and the music is pumping, and everybody's just vibing, and you're doing the wave, and you're doing the wave, and you're doing, getting up and sitting down. It's like all that energy. That's what creates the value in Bitcoin. So then the game is over, or it's halftime. So we had a halftime kind of thing in, or say somebody, there's an injury on the field, or the game's not going your way, and the referee is all jacking up the game and making bad calls. People want to leave, so people start leaving the stadium, and as they leave, that energy, that vibe gets lower. So that's what's causing the Bitcoin network to right now have a lower value, because not as many computers that used to be running the Bitcoin protocol, we have lost about 40% of that Bitcoin. When it was 69, say we had 1,000 computers running the Bitcoin code, we lost 40% of that. So let's say we lost 400 computers running the Bitcoin out of 1,000. Because China, a little did some people thought Elon Musk put out a tweet and that crashed the Bitcoin price. No, it was a lot of miners were taken offline because China, they didn't ban Bitcoin. What they did, they banned mining Bitcoin in China, because China produces so much energy and they're giving away energy so cheap. And what we had was a transition in political movement or political status between China and the United States. And China says, hey, all these people are mining Bitcoin for cheap energy. Matter of fact, China was giving away free energy, like I was talking about. They gave away free electricity to mine Bitcoin. Matter of fact, they were paying people, kind of like Edison pays people to move their production onto off-peak hours when nobody else is basically sucking that demand of electricity. So China was giving Bitcoin miners free electricity, and they were actually making money off of the electricity on top of making money off of mining, because now China could have a off-taker for that energy, that they were basically giving it away and paying you to take it. Basically, they pay you to take the energy so they don't have to find a way to get rid of it. You understand what I mean? Like, you'll pay someone to come and pick up your junk because you don't want the time and the effort to go and pay for it. So to go do it yourself. So it's the same kind of thing with electricity. When electric providers have excess energy, they'd rather pay you to use it than find a way to get rid of it, because they can't store it. So Bitcoin essentially becomes a store of energy. That's the concept. That's the education you're getting from the dumbest person you know in Bitcoin. Nobody else is talking about energy and Bitcoin this way. So what happened in the spring, the latter end of spring, going into summer of 2021? In summer, it was a bloodbath. Bitcoin went from 69 to basically 30, and then it went down to 17 after that. The point is, a lot of those mining companies went offline. China kicked out the miners out of China. You could not get that free electricity to set up your mining operation anywhere in China if you were not a Chinese national. So all these US companies, all these people who's like invested a lot of infrastructure money into setting up these huge Bitcoin mining rigs and Bitcoin servers, like warehouses full of servers and computers mining Bitcoin, they instantly had to leave. They had to get kicked out because they're not Chinese nationals. If you own the company that's doing the mining, China's like, hey man, you're out of here. Get out of here. You cannot mine Bitcoin here. So people thought China banned Bitcoin. They didn't ban Bitcoin. They basically kicked out the non-Chinese national mining companies. So all of those, basically they pulled the lifeblood. They pulled the plug out of those computers. And so we lost about four out of every 1,000 computers running the Bitcoin code, we lost about 400. So 40% of those mining companies went offline. And that's why Bitcoin isn't, the price point isn't booming, because the network has not gotten back to the strength that it was at 69,000. Some of those mining companies, where did they go? So they can't operate in China because they're not Chinese national, and they got to go find a Chinese national to bribe and set up as the CEO, or 70% Chinese owned, or whatever the ratio is that China demands to be a Chinese owned company. So they haven't been able to re-engage, to plug those computers back in. A lot of those miners, they are setting up in new places like El Salvador, that's providing clean electricity, free electricity to mine. Like we have geothermal energy, we have hydroelectric, and we have all this clean energy down in South America, like El Salvador, begging people to come and set up their mine. But all these machines are stuck in China. It takes time to get it out. So we're into like a second year, a year and a half. We're in the second year of this offline computers, and they have not yet been brought back online. A lot of people are going to places like Norway and uh, Greenland and Iceland, where they have a lot of geothermal energy, and they make so much electricity. There's not enough people who live in these places to consume all the electricity that's coming out of those geothermal power factories, or power plants. And so if you're going to go to a place where Bitcoin mining is affordable, you're going to find a place where they're paying you basically to run your mine. You're not going to go set up in California where electricity is 33 cents. And like I said, if you're running those machines during on peak hours between 4 and 9 p.m., or in the early morning, 4 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 9 p.m. You don't want to be running any mining machines between those hours anywhere in the United States. As a matter of fact, in Utah, they have electricity is pretty cheap. It's like 11 cents a kilowatt. California is 33. Like in Hawaii, it's like 40 cents a kilowatt hour, and it's always going up. So why would you mine in those places? And why would you mine in those hours, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.? You don't want to switch on anything during those hours. So here comes Bitcoin, where you can run the Bitcoin protocol in the off-peak hours. That's what's going to cause the Bitcoin price to skyrocket. It's as people realize, and as electricity company realize, that they can store electricity in Bitcoin on the blockchain as part of the network, supporting the network, even offering free electricity for you to run the Bitcoin mining, the Bitcoin protocol to mine Bitcoin to support the network. You'll probably never earn a Bitcoin block, but you will earn little Satoshis, fractions of a Satoshi, for supporting the network off of every single transaction or every single block that's been awarded. You'll get a little tiny Satoshi. So we're going to, that's what I'm talking about. We're going to have to figure out a smaller denomination of measuring Satoshis. And that's what I'm calling the watts. The watts, the same as light bulb. Like I've got a 60-watt light bulb over my head. We're going to denominate Bitcoins and Satoshis into watts, because that's the only common denominator globally that everybody uses. It's already, we don't have to invent. People are considering, okay, when a Satoshi gets to $1 billion, $1 million, what are we going to call it? Like, you don't have to figure it out. It already exists. It's called a watt. So we're going to convert Satoshis into watts. How much kilowatts running the entire network? And that's what's going to denominate the fractions and smaller fractions of Satoshis as the network gets bigger and more valuable. But we're not going to see this major price point jump to what people are talking about until we get more mining operations coming back online. Say we get back to 1,000 out of 1,000 mining. Well, we lost 400 out of 1,000. Say we get to right now. I think we've got back maybe like 150, less than 200 of the 400 that we lost are coming back online. So say it takes another year for us to get back to where we were in the summer of 21. Okay, what's going to happen then? So what's going to happen is basically the value of the Bitcoin price is not going to go up. Remember, I talked about the stadium when all the seats are filled, when all the computers are back online, when the game is pumping, when the music's playing, and all the network is jamming with activity. That energy of the stadium, that's the energy that's going into the Bitcoin. That's when you're going to start feeling and seeing the skyrocket of the price. I tell you, the institutional investors are not going to drive the price of Bitcoin the way people think. Oh, so everybody wants Bitcoin now, so the price is going to go up. Remember, Bitcoin is not governed by supply and demand. That's what's built in. If Bitcoin, see, when Satoshi Nakamoto or whoever he is smarter than me. I'm the dumbest person in Bitcoin right now. I'm the dumbest person speaking to you about Bitcoin. You'll never find a dumber person than myself. And I understand. This is my understanding. When Satoshi Nakamoto wrote the Bitcoin code, he eliminated the impact that supply and demand would have on the Bitcoin price. A lot of people are talking about all this money coming in. It can't come in because nobody's selling the Bitcoin. Listen, if somebody had, they were talking about, oh yeah, $400 million, nearly $500 million of Bitcoin left in exchange. Well, where did it go? They didn't sell it on the street. It just moved from one wallet to another wallet. Someone opened another wallet and moved their Bitcoin. You understand? All this Bitcoin on the exchanges, they're not going to sell $1 trillion of their Bitcoin to anybody because they're an exchange. They got to sell it in smaller chunks. It's easier for you to get a Satoshi than it's for you to get a full Bitcoin right now. It's easier for you to get one Bitcoin than it's easy for you to get 10 Bitcoins. It's easier for you to get 10 Bitcoins than it is to get 100 Bitcoins, no matter how much money you have, because nobody is letting go of their Bitcoin. Matter of fact, 70%, I was watching another video on YouTube, about 70% of the Bitcoin wallets have not been touched since they were created. So if only 30% is moving around, and within that 30% is just moving from wallet to wallet, it's not leaving the network and going somewhere else. Look, Bitcoin is not like tuna in a can on a shelf at Walmart that you just go buy some and then there's a run on tuna, so they raise the price. It's not like toilet paper where you just keep pumping out more toilet paper and more people are going to buy it. And when the shelf is empty, you can sell it for $5 a roll. It doesn't work like that. Bitcoin is not governed by supply and demand. It's governed by the amount of energy, the amount of computers, the amount of network storage, the amount of kilowatt hours going into the network, the amount of laptops, desktops, server farms running the node, the amount of devices running the Bitcoin protocol. That's what governs the price. As soon as we get more people start mining, people lost their confidence in mining because we were going from, if you were making, say Bitcoin was $69,000 and you were getting $50,000 per Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin went down and it was 17,000. You were only getting 10,000 per Bitcoin. Why would you be mining it? So the confidence in the mining, apart from China kicking out miners, the confidence in mining is low. But the smart people who are smarter than me, that's where they're going. They're going into mining. They're going into running the protocol. Anybody can run it. You don't have to be a big operation. Matter of fact, I'm not running any Bitcoin mining. I'm thinking about getting my old laptop. I have 2 laptops sitting here doing nothing. They could be running them out right now. It's 11:29, the perfect time to plug in and run the Bitcoin protocol. It's off-peak hours, and even though electricity in New York, California, the West, and all these big cities is expensive, you could still participate in supporting network. If people in China start mining Bitcoin again, people in El Salvador, people in the Caribbean, people in Jamaica, people all over the world start running the Bitcoin protocol, that's what's going to cause the price pump. If you want to pump the price of Bitcoin, set up some mining. If you want Bitcoin price to go to 100,000, get some more miners back online. If you want Bitcoin to go to $1 million, get as many computers as you can find and plug them in and run the Bitcoin node. The strength of the network is what governs the price of the Bitcoin, not supply and demand. Bitcoin is governed by energy, the supply of energy, the amount of energy running, and the cost of all that energy to support the network. That's what governs the price. Hey, this is Charlene. Check out my material, check out my writings, check out my crazy ideas at tokensmagazine.com. Tokens Magazine, you can hit me up, but here's my phone number: 801-299-9105. Thank you for watching. Remember, I'm the dumbest person you'll ever know in Bitcoin, but I'm letting you know right now that Bitcoin is not governed by supply and demand. It's governed by energy, electricity, the amount of computers running the network. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Tokensmagazine.com. Check it out.